I'm looking at the past few months and go, man, we achieved a bunch of things, but you know what? The edge isn't where I want it to be. And the fulfillment isn't there when you don't feel like you're growing. Entrepreneurs, we're the most happy when we're in momentum. When we're in positive momentum, you could be making the most money in the world, but if you don't feel like you're in positive momentum in business, in life, in energy, in fitness and health, then oftentimes we feel like there's something missing. Oftentimes we're not insanely happy in those moments.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Carrot Cast. Now, the Carrot Cast, we're usually diving in doing interviews with amazing real estate investors, amazing real estate agents. Now, in these episodes, every Thursday, they're the Trevor Truck Talks, where you get to hear behind the scenes of the mindset shifts I'm going through as a CEO of one of the fastest growing companies in America, and the mindset shifts you can take to run your business and win back your freedom as well. Let's dive into this episode.
Just dropped the kids off and heading to the office now. And one of the things, this was years ago, and this feeds into the topic I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to talk about identity, and I'm going to talk about what that means. Every Carrot Camp that we do, I walk through this really, really brief exercise, and even people who've been there 4 times, like he's saying, he's coming back for his 4th or 5th time, I can't remember. Another sold out Carrot Camp, y'all. So if you guys are wanting to make it to a future Carrot Camp, they have sold out 100% of every time we've done a Carrot Camp. This one sold out over a month early. And I think we're actually oversold. We accidentally sold 16 tickets because we brought on a business partner. There's a couple business partnerships that are in there. So I think we oversold it possibly, which we won't do again. We're always going to cap it at 15. But anyway, I'm going to talk about identity. And part of my identity that I set out years ago was that I am a very involved and engaged father. And so when you start to talk about identity, when you start to really when you start to internalize, who am I? What's this vision for the person I want to become? What's this vision for who I am right now? And what's the gap? Like, what's the difference between the two? And what do I need to do? What would that person be? What would an engaged father look like? What would, an engaged and really active father or husband look like? And then you start to walk it back and say, well, what activities would I do? Well, I decided years ago I'd take my kids to school every day. Then I go get a workout, and I pick my kids up on Fridays. I could pick them up other days, but my wife picks them up the other days, and then she goes and does things with them right after that. And I get out of school, or I get out of work most of the time by 4 o'clock. Fridays, I'm out by 3 because I pick the kids up. And so I'm working on my schedule even more. That's something my wife and I, we just got back from a trip in San Diego. We were there for 4 days, just her and I. It was awesome. Since the pandemic started, we've gone on several vacations as a family, but we realized we haven't been anywhere ourselves more than just a night without the kids in a year and a half. And so we thought, man, we need to get away and just spend time together. And so she booked the trip to San Diego, and it was a blast. And one of the things that we did down there was we really pulled back and said, how do we be intentional stepping into this identity, a part of our identity of being amazing and engaged parents? And, our kids don't want an extra zero in the bank account. The kids could care less how much money we make. Whether you make $1 million a year or $200,000 a year or $80,000 a year, it's pretty much all the same to the kids. I remember growing up, and I didn't, my family didn't have a lot of money. We weren't poor by any means, but we were very, middle class, probably the lower end of middle class in the early years of growing up. And then my parents started companies, and then they grew to upper end of middle class by the end of that. And I remember when we were probably the lower end of middle class, and my dad had lost his job, and my mom didn't have a job, and so she started a business out of necessity. I never remembered feeling poor. I never remembered feeling like our family didn't have money. I never remembered feeling like we had any lack, because we had a lot of love, and we had a lot of amazing experiences my parents would provide, even if they didn't really require money. It could be outside working with my parents. It could be, in the yard. It could be building things together. It could be going on simple trips. And I remember the simple things. I remember that my parents, every time we would go on a road trip, we didn't have TVs and cars and things like that back then, but they always had this big pump bottle that would sit up in the front seat by my mom, and this pump bottle was filled up with cranberry juice and 7-Up mixture. I can't remember what they called it, but I kind of had a love-hate relationship with that, because I would get car sick, and I would associate that car sickness, that feeling, with this drink. But now, like, it's funny because we love it, and we reminisce. My older brother, they actually got the exact same pumper. They do the same juice to their on their family trips and things like that. And so I know that's a stupid little thing, but I never remember thinking about, man, my family has money or not. So why do I say this? Because as we're building businesses as entrepreneurs, we oftentimes say we're doing this for our families. Oftentimes we say that. And if you really think about, and I'll go into identity here in a second, if we really think about, are we doing this for our families? What does our family want the most? Okay? Our spouses probably want more of our time versus an extra zero in the bank account. Our kids definitely want more of our time versus an extra zero in the bank account. Now, if you're broke, and you absolutely are broke, and you're making less than 40 grand a year, and you have less than $2,000 in the bank, you probably should get some money coming in, right? But at the end of the day, if you're making over $100,000 a year already, and you're not overspending on things just to keep up with the Joneses or to prove something by your expenditures, then you already have plenty enough money to be insanely happy, and your kids for sure are going to be plenty happy. They're not going to recognize their life being more amazing by having a little bit bigger house, or that dad's got a Lambo or whatever. Is it cool? Yeah, it's cool, but their life isn't going to be more amazing. Okay, and so the next part of it is like, well, you might go, well, yeah, but I want to create legacy. I want to set my kids up and my family up for generations to come, and that's something that we thought about too. So this last weekend, I was going through something called the Shareholder Roadmap. I hired a company, a good friend of mine, Seth Bueckley's got a company, and they're walking me and my business partners through. I own the majority of Carrot, and then I've got minority shareholders. Walking us through something called the Shareholder Roadmap. And the Shareholder Roadmap is basically, what do you want to do with the company, right? Like, what is the goal of Carrot? And is it to sell it? Is it not? Is it to hold it forever? And we'd really been wrestling with it. And we made the decision that selling the company is not in the cards. It's not part of it's not part of the plan. We're going to build a company that we love, that makes an amazing impact, that we love to own. I'm going to be growing from the self-employed seat to the owner seat here over the next couple of years, and there's got to be some moves to happen there. But when you're thinking about what to do with the company, you have to first think about, what do you want to do with your life? Right? Like, what is the number? What number is enough, and why does that number matter? And then next, what would you do if you didn't have the company, if you weren't working? What are the goals and dreams and desires of you and your spouse? And that was the important thing. My wife and I had never really sat down and talked about it, because me as a visionary entrepreneur, I live in the future, probably too much, right? And my wife is amazing at being present in the moment. And I struggle to be present in the moment. It's something I've gotten better at, far better at, especially since reading the book I talked with you guys about not too long ago, Chasing Daylight. But my wife struggles to cast vision for the future. And so I think that's one of the reasons it works well. And we just sat down and started talking about what we want to do. And then you start to work backwards and say, well, this is what the business would then need to provide. And these are the activities we want to do. And why am I saying this, guys? Because at the end of the day, when I talk about legacy, then I am actually going to get to identity here. I'm feeding into that conversation. But when we talk about legacy, and I'm doing this for my family, we had decided, we said, you know what? We don't think it's best that we leave this to our kids. We really don't. So let's say, have a net worth of $50-60 million. I don't want to leave that to my kids. And I know it sounds really amazing. Some people, it sounds crazy. And some people might be going like, you're heartless. Why would you now leave that to your kids? Guys, because you hear more often than not that kids who grow up in really, really, really wealthy families where money is no object and they don't have to worry about money, it's the start of the slippery slope. It's the start of the slippery slope towards comfort, and then comfort turns into bad. and then things get destroyed and then you've got to build it back up. And I'd much rather have my kids learn how to build it up themselves. I'd much rather give my kids a little start, have an opportunity for them that does make things a little easier, but I don't want to have it be done for them. I want them to have to work. I want them to have to go out there and build their own future, build their own destiny, and not be able to sit back and relax and live off of mom and dad's money. Okay, and that's not going to happen. So this goes back to identity. Carrot Camp is in a couple weeks, and one of the biggest things that I always drive home, and I'm going to be driving home this time in a different way than I ever have at Carrot Camp, on a new talk I've never given before at Carrot Camp. Anytime I get to a spot where I'm in a rut, and I'm just kind of coming out of a rut too, but anytime I'm in a rut, it's almost always because I'm not clearly thinking about, envisioning about the vision for the person I want to become. It's because I lost sight of that vision. It's because maybe even my dreams or my goals aren't big enough for me to have to become someone better than my current self. And that happens oftentimes. Oftentimes we hit our goals and then we get lazy. And then over a month, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, the edge kind of wears off. And then you're wondering, why? What is this? Like, I know what I'm supposed to do. I know what I need to do. I know I need to get working out. I know I need to do this. I know I need to get up early, and I like getting up early, but why can't I? Right? It's because your vision, you've ran out of runway on your vision. Your vision isn't big enough to give you that urgency and that drive to have to become better than you currently are. And so if you're in a rut, it's likely because your vision is the issue. You likely need to create a bigger vision, to sit back just like my wife and I did and get really clear on that vision. What do I want in my life in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? Who is the person I need to become in order to live that life, in order to drive and achieve that life? Who is the person I need to become? What traits and habits do they have? Okay? How do they wake up in the morning? What do they do each day? What traits do they have? What traits do they leave behind? Write those down. Get really clear on the vision for your life, the 5, 10, 20-year life story, like I tell you, a vision story. Like we've talked about, we'll link it up in the show notes, the vision story episode. And then walk it back and say, who is the person I need to become? We have a being versus becoming episode as well. Brady and team link up the being versus becoming episode where we talk about that. And then once you've identified that, the vision of where you want to go in your life, and then you map it back and say, now, how does my business feed into this vision? Okay, a shareholder roadmap type of thing. And what does that business need to look like? And what does my job in that business need to look like in a year, 2, 3 years maybe? Does your job need to change? Okay, and then you walk it back and say, if all of this were to be true, and I want to be the type of father that I laid out in my 5, 10, 20-year vision. I want to be the type of husband that I laid out in my 5, 10, 20-year vision story. I want to be the type of entrepreneur who's able to lead a business that's able to get me and my family to that vision story. And then you sit down and say, what would that person do? What habits would they have? What disciplines would they have? What choices would they make in these moments where I'm not making the choice? Would they make the choice to get up in the morning, or would they make the choice to hit the snooze button? Would that person make the choice to cut out work early several days a week or all days a week to spend time with the kids to feed into the vision of the father or the mother that they want to become? Or would that person take the extra 1, 2, 3 meetings in the day to quote unquote fit them in, or because other people are asking of their time? And letting other people dictate the type of father that we're going to be, or the type of mother, or the type of entrepreneur, or dictate our health because we're letting people schedule over the top of our workouts. What would the person you want to become do in those situations? Would you walk into the gym and work out or not? Would you say next week, I'll start next week? And the reason I'm saying this right now, guys, and I know I've talked about this topic before, is none of us are immune to this. You know, I was watching a video with David Goggins the other day, and the person was asking him, said, man, you are so consistent. You just show up and just crush it every day, and you just don't miss a day. He said, do you ever have a bad day where you're just like, I don't want to do this? And David Goggins said, yes. He goes, every day. He said, every day we've got to battle that. And he goes, well, maybe not every day, but for sure every week or every 2 weeks. He said, it's very consistent that he wakes up and has to battle his inner voice saying, just do it tomorrow. Just take a break. Just fall back on your old habits. It's okay. You're already in great shape. Why not just kind of stop and take it easy? It's okay. Your mindset's already sharp. Why not just kind of, let a couple things slide? You'll get it back. It's okay. The people that you surround yourself with, man, you know what? That person over there that really sucks the life out of you, or the person that is a bad influence on you, keep hanging out with them because you've been friends with them forever and you don't want to hurt their feelings and just keep hanging out with them. And so if even people like David Goggins and people like Elon Musk and like the biggest achieved people in whatever field you're looking at, if you're looking at business or fitness and health or mindset or sports or whatever it is, every single one of them have the struggle to be consistent, to do the things that they need to do to reach the vision, the life vision story that they want to live. And the decision the great people make versus the ones who fall into ruts often is the great people look at that vision. They're clear in the vision. They're clear in the person they want to become. They're clear on who they are right now and the gap that there is. And they're clear that, you know what? The person I want to become would make this decision this way. And I'm going to do that as well. Knowing that over the long term, it might be hard in that day to make that decision, but over the long term, their life is way easier, way more fruitful, way more fulfilling, way more impactful for others around them if they make that hard decision to do the hard things. It's easy in the moment to make the easy decision to eat the unhealthy thing or not drink the water or get up late and hit the snooze button. Those are easy decisions, but those easy decisions cause a hard life. Those easy decisions make it harder on us, and it makes it harder to get out of those ruts. So I'm going to finish with this and then head into the office. Like I said, the reason I brought this up is I'm a pretty high-performing guy. Earlier in the year, did 500 miles on my bike in December, did 75 hard, didn't drink alcohol for 3 months. Was in the best, literally the best shape of my life, and I'm almost 40 years old. I played college sports, and guys, I was in the best shape of my life earlier in the year. Went on a vacation. Had amazing time with my family in Hawaii. Spent great time with my brother in Nashville. Went to Mastermind. Dove in and did work. We've hired a bunch of people. Our business is doing great. Had lots of time with family. Did a vacation in the summer in Yellowstone. All these amazing things, just creating amazing life experiences and perfect moments with my family and with my kids. But the thing that fell off, guys, was I started to lose sight of the person I wanted to become, the person that would be required to live the life in a long-term sustainable way over the long term that is in my vision story. And when you do that too long, when you do that for weeks or months, and you're just doing the things that you enjoy most, and you make those decisions that are a little bit easier to make, what happens is you fall into those ruts, okay? You fall into those ruts, y'all. You start to lose sight of that vision. You start to make decisions that are easy, and you're not comparing, man, what would the person I want to become do? So as I'm preparing for Carrot Camp, as I'm leading into the fourth quarter of this year, I'm looking at the past few months and go, man, we achieved a bunch of things, but you know what? The edge isn't where I want it to be, and the fulfillment isn't there when you don't feel like you're growing. Entrepreneurs, we're the most happy when we're in momentum. When we're in positive momentum, you could be making the most money in the world, but if you don't feel like you're in positive momentum in business, in life, in energy, in fitness and health, then oftentimes we feel like there's something missing. Oftentimes we're not insanely happy in those moments. So I'm creating positive momentum by going back to my toolbox, by going back to my playbook for how to get out of rust, for my playbook for how to get on fire, to get momentum. It's the same playbook I've had for years. The cool thing is my ruts have been fewer and faster now because I've got the playbook. They still happen. Every year I'll go through a couple ruts so I come out of them quicker. But the playbook is, go read my vision story, the 20-year, the 10-year, the 5-year. It's written in my orange notebook. Is that vision story still relevant? If it's not, update the vision story, make it more exciting. It should be exciting to you. Read that vision story. Then ask yourself, well, who's the person I would need to become in order to be this person in this vision story? What traits would they have? What habits would they have? What types of things would they spend their day on? And then a few weeks ago, I started adjusting my schedule with my assistant and brought in another team member and said, all right, guys, I'm going to win my schedule back. My schedule kind of got eaten up by busy stuff. And it's just not lighting me up anymore. Energy out. It took the energy out of it, working through the vision story and said, okay, cool. How are we going to adjust my schedule? No more than 4 hours of meetings in a day. No more cramming my Fridays with meetings. That's going to be a lax day. No more allowing me to schedule over workouts. A whole list of certain things. Energy work in the morning, meetings in the afternoon. So just revamping the whole thing for energy and then going through it and saying, okay, awesome. Now what are my habits I need to adjust? What are the things I need to build back into my business energy audit wise? And what are the things I need to stop doing work wise that don't give me energy? I can hand that off to someone else that gives them energy, and I can start to do the things I love more often. One of those things, guys, we're starting a live show today. Talked with my content marketing team. I'm like, guys, I need to get out and do content more. Like, I love doing content. I want to do more content. So we're starting a live show today. You guys and gals will find it on Facebook. I believe we're going to stream it on YouTube as well. It's called Behind the Deal. And Behind the Deal, essentially, it's going to be a live show. We're going to put it on YouTube as well. It's going to be where every other week I'm diving in with a friend of mine who's a Carrot customer. We're going to rotate it around between Bill Hollis and Keith Sant and several others as well. And we're going to walk through from start to finish recent deals that they've done. We're going to show videos behind the scenes of those deals live on the show. We'll see how that goes. We're going to walk through where'd you get the lead? How'd you do the marketing? What did the marketing look like? When did the call come in? What did you do when the call came in? What did you say? How did that go down? Sometimes we'll actually have recordings of those calls that we'll talk about and play on those calls. We're going to show the house. We're going to show the numbers. We're going to show how the negotiation went. We're going to walk through and talk about the objections the seller had, how you went through the objections. When you locked it down, what did you do to dispose of the property? What were the numbers? What were the profits? And now we're going to talk about what's next. Okay, so we're going to break down the deals behind the deal. Go to Facebook and find Carrot over there. And make sure you subscribe and follow us over there because we're going to be putting those out every other week on Thursdays live, and you'll be able to find the replays on YouTube. Just go to youtube.com and find Carrot over there and search us up, subscribe over on YouTube. And the last thing is we're going to come out with another live series as well. That's going to be the gaps in the middle. So every other week. So every single Thursday moving forward, we're going to have a live show coming out. I'm going to have guests with me every time. And this other live show is going to be actually digging in and using Carrot to do things. We're going to set up a land buying website and show you exactly how we're doing it. And we'll even get the ads going on it and show leads coming in for it. We're going to show you how to modify the visual of your website to make it look amazing and different than anything else in your market, rather than feeling like you got to go to a custom site. Because I've seen people go custom, guys, and they end up, a lot of them end up coming back because of performance, because page speed is lower, because SEO took a hit, because whatever. And so you can make amazing customizations on Carrot. We're going to be doing that every other week, where we're going to be walking you through exactly how to do those customizations, how to launch these, the land buyer site, the house selling site, how to launch the Google Ads campaign. It's going to be behind the scenes of how to do the work that gets you the deals that Behind the Deal is going to be walking through. So subscribe on YouTube, guys and gals. Follow us on Facebook. Follow me on Instagram. I'll be putting them out on Instagram every single week. And I'm excited to bake that energy back into my work week. So guys, identity. What is your identity? What type of father, mother, husband, brother do you want to be? What type of business person? What's your 5, 10, 20-year vision story? Go look at the vision story. Listen to the vision story episode. We'll link it up. Then walk your way back and say, what habits, disciplines, traits do I need to have? What's my schedule need to look like? And what would that person do? What's the person I want to become? What would they do in this situation? Would they pick up the water or pick up the soda? Would they get the workout in? Would they not? Would they let their schedule be crammed with tactical stuff or do strategic work that drives the business forward? Guys, nail your identity and your future will take care of itself. Have an amazing, amazing rest of the day. Pumped about all you Carrot campers are going to be here in a couple weeks from today. Go to carrotcamp.com if you want to make sure to join us next time. We always email out to the wait list at carrot.com first, and it fills up from the wait list usually almost every time. And we're going to have an amazing, amazing time. So guys, have an awesome week. I'm going to head into the office. Thank you all. See ya.